Today, we're going to be discussing Chapter 13 from Salt, Sugar, Fat, our weight loss book club for busy people, where we just go over one chapter a week to make it easy. And we just have two weeks left.
Is that right?
2 weeks after this one left, and we'll have completed Salt, Sugar, Fat. If this is your first time viewing, my name's Gina. This is my husband, Jeff, and we are on a weight loss journey. I have type 2 diabetes, and I take Manjaro, which has helped me not only bring my blood sugar down, it's also helped me to lose some weight. And Jeff's been working hard trying to lose weight too, but he's not diabetic and he's not taking any medications.
And not so much the last couple days because it's been my birthday.
Yeah, this has been Jeff's birthday weekend.
Yeah.
Yay! So happy birthday, Jeff.
Thank you.
Now, chapter 13 was kind of a tough chapter. The title of it is The Same Great Salty Taste Your Customers Crave.
Kinda.
After a bunch of research went out that taking salt can raise your blood pressure, cause hypertension, and also increases your chances of having a heart attack or stroke. Our country wanted to make a difference with this. And so when that word got out, consumers were worried about it. Like, how can I lower my salt intake?
And there were other ingredients which have sodium as a component too, which also goes into that number that they were trying to limit.
Right.
It's not just salt, but also various other sodium ingredients.
Right. And so they talk about that a lot in this chapter, about other things that are similar to table salt, but slightly different, that still had the chloride part in it, but then attached to something else like potassium chloride, and how food manufacturers could use these other ingredients that were almost like salt, but not really salt, to be able to say that they lowered the sodium content within foods to try to make them healthier and still taste pretty good.
But none of them are perfect.
No.
Like some of them would give like a bitter taste. Yeah. People don't like buying foods that have bitter tastes.
No. And
much.
I kind of remember when a lot of these things happened. That's when you would start seeing down like the Campbell soup aisle that they had some new Healthy Request, was that the name of it?
I think so.
Healthy Request soups, and those soups were had 25% less sodium in them, and for people to be able to try them. And I have to admit, as a consumer, I did try some of those soups, and they didn't taste as good to me. And so I didn't continue buying them. And what happens? We're voting for our health with our dollars. If we purchase things that are healthier, then food manufacturers, they want our dollars. So they want to make the things that we will buy. And so
but nobody likes shooting themselves in the foot.
No. Yeah. And Campbell's, they tried even on their regular soups to lower the sodium a little bit, and their sales dropped, and their stock market prices went down. And so that was a big concern. And so they actually put a little bit of the sodium back, not to the 100% levels that it was, but tried to bring it back up a little bit to enhance the flavor, to increase their sales.
But there were some ingredients which actually took salt out and made it taste better and could have increased sales.
Yeah, and those were the herbs. Yeah, they could.
The problem was that it cost more to do that.
Yeah,
to put different herbs and spices in there
into the soups. They'll make the soups actually taste better. It's amazing how much work goes into these test kitchens. They were in one part of this chapter, they mentioned that they bought an electron microscope. Those were like crazy expensive. millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars for this electron microscope so they could even find different ways to shape salt so that it hits your tongue differently so that it would increase the flavor of your foods and raise your bliss point a little bit too. And they have, and they do a lot of things where they have people test it, in their test kitchens. And Michael Moss, he got to go while he was doing his research to write this book. And while he was researching what they were doing in these test kitchens and in these big companies that are making our processed foods, they're like, hey, listen, Mike, let's try some of this. Here.
Yeah.
Try
it's exactly the same product,
Mhm.
only we reduce the sodium by 50% or 30% or whatever.
Some of them, they did no salt. So like they gave him a slice of bread that had 0 salt in it. See what this bread tastes like with no salt. And it looked a little weird. It had more holes in it and stuff. It didn't have a nice golden brown crust to it. And when he tasted it, he said it tasted terrible. I mean, and I never even really thought about salt being in my bread. I've never even thought about that. But yet, you need salt to make your bread taste better.
The thing
And
I
a little
thought was
bit, it does some
interesting,
chemical things to making the bread. Go ahead.
I think he got a sample of Cheez-Its or something like that. And
Oh,
they
yeah.
weren't even crunchy.
Yeah, then
They
they
were like
kind of
mushy or
gummy and
something.
mushy. And
Yeah,
then
gummy. I think that's what it was, gummy. Like, really? You don't want to put a little label on the side. Now 25% more gummy.
Yeah, exactly. And it made everything taste terrible. And so they've been really trying, and they've been trying to make different formulations of salt to see if that could make things better. I actually, it made me feel a little better in a way that they spent all this money and doing tons of research trying to make things so it tastes good enough that we'd want to buy them, and then try to bring down the sodium so that way it'll save thousands of lives. Wow, I mean, just think about that. Even if it could save one life, I think every life is important, and it's just I don't know.
Well, here's a question for you, Gina.
Okay.
If you knew that they have reduced the salt content in a soup or some sort of food product,
Mm-hmm.
and you knew that they did that by adding some other, maybe some spices and herbs that were making it more healthy even and tasty, but it cost more, what would you do? Would you say, I just want to get the one that I'm used to that has all the salt in it, but I've had it since I was a kid and I know I like it? Or would you choose the one that they say on the label that it's healthier for you? What would you do?
Well, I will tell you, Jeff, there are times that I have spent more money on different things that are considered more healthy. And it's really funny. Things that, if there's 2 products side by side and it's almost the exact same product, but one of them is the healthier version, it always costs a little more. And I always thought that was so weird. I'm like,
taking stuff
if they
out,
take
they
stuff
cost
out,
more.
yeah, it has less calories and stuff in it. And a lot of times there's less volume and they're charging me more. But now I understand after reading this chapter, salt's cheap. It is like really inexpensive as an ingredient.
It's dirt cheap.
It's
They dig it out of the ground cheap.
yeah.
They don't get it from the dirt.
No,
but
well, some of it's
it
underground.
is from the ground.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and in the salt mines and how
Right.
far underneath the Earth's crust to be able to find salt. And I found it interesting how they get salt out of
Seawater.
seawater, and I guess sea salt is salt
right.
from out of seawater, so it makes sense that they evaporate that water, and what's left is salt. So I really, things I just don't normally think about is in this chapter about where we've gotten to where we are. But I'll tell you, if they could make, like they sat Michael Moss, the writer of this book, they sat him down and they gave him Campbell's tomato soup and Campbell's vegetable beef soup. And they tried it like without the salt, and he was like, oh my gosh, it was like horrible tasting.
You get that waft that we talked about last week, the warmed over flavor from the meats.
Yeah, that it was just, it was terrible and nasty. But then they tried, okay, where it had some salt, but a reduced amount of salt. And they threw in extra herbs, some fresh herbs into it. And he said those really tasted good. And it tasted like homemade soup. But the problem is it costs a little more. But I'm thinking, like, how much more? Because I would pay more for soup that had less sodium, had fresh spices that would improve the flavor.
Oh, but one thing they said also was that if you mess around with the ingredients too much and and someone buys it and doesn't like it, it's sometimes hard to get that person back as a customer because they might say, I'm not getting cannibal soup anymore. I'm getting Progresso or whatever.
Or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I found
So that could not only hurt their bottom line, but then
they might
out
lose
in the
that
stock
customer.
market too.
Yeah.
If they start losing market share and stuff, and they say, "Oh, don't buy Campbell's because blah blah blah." They're doing stuff that isn't going to make you a profit, or you know.
Yeah.
I was feeling sorry for those companies. I
In a way, yeah. And I didn't think
they
I
were
was
trying
going to. Yeah, but they were trying. And
and then what about the parts where they said, okay, we have the 3 different things that you can put in: salt, sugar, and fat. And if they had to take out one, sometimes they had to put more of the other in there. So like, oh yes, less sodium,
but more fat.
but we had to put in more fat, or we had to put in more sugar because we took out the fat.
And I want to tell you, the struggle is real. I had mentioned last week that after I'd gotten my type 2 diabetes diagnosis in 2020, a friend of mine introduced me to some products that she was selling as a home-based business called Epicure. And Epicure had less sodium in everything. It had less fat in everything. It had zero it had no artificial flavors. It had no artificial colors. It had no gluten in anything. Everything had no gluten in it. And it was to be really helpful for families who experience allergies, food allergies.
That'd be a fast way to cook from scratch.
Right.
Because everything, it
and
tells
do
you
tell
exactly
you,
how
while
to do
he's
it.
saying all this stuff, we're not selling it anymore.
No.
I promise you, I'm not selling you this stuff.
Yeah.
Because I can't.
Right.
In Canada, it started like 35 years ago that they started making Epicure, and it was just some woman in her house who was making a bunch of spices that she would put her spices together to make really nice combinations, and it made her cook faster. And when people would come over and have dinner at her house, they go, "Oh my gosh, this whatever you made is so delicious." And she'd say, "Oh, I use my special lemon herb blend." And she would tell them how she mixed her spices together, and to make it faster for her to cook, she would put them in little bottles and little baggies or whatever, just for her own family. And they would say, "Oh, can I have some?" So then she would start giving them to friends. And before she knew it, it kind of took off, and she started doing it at farmers markets and things. And then she got into the home-based business thing, and it did really well in Canada. And so they decided to bring it to the United States, and it came to the United States in 2020. And I was like, wow, what a neat idea, because Jeff had high blood pressure, and we were both severely overweight. Jeff was 40 pounds heavier than he is now then, and I was 50 pounds heavier than I am now. So we were severely overweight. I've never liked cooking, but these were so easy. The recipes were like 20 minutes or less to get them all done. But we had to get used to not having as much sodium and not having as much salt. And so I started taking it as a customer, and then I liked it so much, I did it as a home-based business. And during the pandemic, when we couldn't go anywhere, it was kind of fun to do Facebook Lives, cooking dinner, and sharing these recipes. But I will tell you, it was really hard. It was a hard sell in the United States because we are really hooked on our sugar and our salt. And I would tell people when they make
what
it,
else, though?
and fat. And these were also
No.
had recipes with lower fat too. What?
Didn't it cost more?
Yeah. So it wasn't cheaper, it was more expensive. So I had to try to talk my friends and family into trying these products
They might
that,
like less because they like
yeah, because
extra
they,
salt.
right, that it's less salt and it's less sugar. uh, and to try to market that, it was horrifically hard. And when I would make everything and I'd be showing people, and then I'd have to tell them, it's so you can salt it to taste. So it's low sodium, and some of the things had no salt in it, like 100% no salt, but a lot of herbs and spices. And I tell them, taste it first, and then you can add a little bit of salt to get it to the way that you like it. But if you can slowly add less and less salt, and then eventually no salt to it, and just take it as is, it's really healthier for you. And it was.
Plus, though, people, if they're using a salt shaker, they use less salt than if you had just put it into the food.
Right. So if you have like no salt and you have to add your
the
own.
surface, you're touching that with your tongue, and
That's true.
And you taste it right away. And putting in less salt that way by shaking it was more healthy.
Possibly when you're cooking your own food.
Yeah.
Because it's almost impossible to buy things with zero sodium in it. In the United States, that's a prepared product. But if you're cooking your own, you can control how much salt and things. But I want to tell you, it was really hard. It was really, really hard to make it in the United States, trying to sell products that didn't have that had lower salt in it, and without all the preservatives and things. I still have a bunch of packets of stuff that I can show you in a minute, just kind of what it looked like. But
You're not selling them.
I'm not selling them. What I have left is what I have left to use for myself. But I want to tell you, it was hard. Oh, Grant's in the house and he gave us a super sticker. Yay! Thanks so much, Grant. You made my heart smile today. I appreciate that. But anyway, so I've got to see what it's like being someone trying to sell products that are healthy to get people to start cooking again in their homes, and coming from someone who hated to cook. I mean, I was the queen of frozen pizzas and whatever, to be able and craft macaroni and cheese in the box, and I'd throw in a can of tuna and some frozen peas, and I bedazzled it, and it would feed that to my family. Yeah. But it was a lot of things that were prepared. But this was a way, it made me feel good to be able to cook healthy and quickly, where it didn't have a lot of steps to do, where I could make things really fast. But it didn't make it. It tanked Epicure, and they went bankrupt and went into and filed bankruptcy. I used to have some videos on my channel, and I took down all the Epicure ones because they're not around anymore. They did get rebought out by the daughter and her husband of the lady who originally, of the original owners. But it'll come out probably again just in Canada. Is that the American market just wasn't going to do it.
Well, maybe because there is some place in the world where trying to cut down on salt was working, at least better than it does
in
here.
the UK. And yeah. I am proud of all my UK peeps who do come onto my channel, which is why I do this in the afternoon, the book club, because I have some friends in the UK who watch the channel, but it's hard for them to do my Monday night lives because it's like 2 a.m. when I'm live, it's a little crazy. So they always have to catch things on replay. But that's why I do the afternoon on Sunday with the book club. So that way my UK friends can pop on if they'd like to during a live. But I tell you, the UK, they're doing a great job. I'm also really thinking about looking at what products that they sell and what things that they do not allow in their country, because we have some chemicals in our food and some different things that we do they don't do in Europe because they know it's bad for you. They're banned. So like if you were to get like Fruit Loops, they're not going to be as brightly colored as the Fruit Loops in the United States.
One of the ingredients is fire retardant or something like that. Goes into fire extinguishers.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yay.
It's some
Or
bad
something
stuff.
like that.
I know. So Europe really does do a good job of trying to help their people.
So maybe when they came out with those guidelines that you have to decrease the amount of salt, one of the things that helped them was that maybe they weren't competing against all the other processed food that has tons and tons of salt in it, like we have in America. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm wondering out loud.
These are good questions. And if any of you are from the UK right now, let us know, or anywhere in Europe where they're really trying to take care of their citizens and help them to live longer and healthier. Let us know your thoughts and what some of your favorite recipes are.
Maybe even especially if they have come to the US and tried something and it seemed, oh, this is too salty.
Yeah, they mentioned that in the book, which is funny. When we were eating a lot of Epicure, and I started, sometimes I'd add a little bit of salt to some of the recipes and some I didn't. And then I slowly stopped doing that to where I just took it as however the packet said to make it, I'd make it that way and I wouldn't add any extra salt because I eventually was able to get Jeff and I off it. So after 6 weeks, about 6 to 12 weeks, we didn't need the salt. And then it was like our taste buds woke up. I remember I mentioned last week, eating a stick of celery and going, oh my gosh,
You can really taste
I didn't know
salt.
celery had so much flavor. I always thought celery was just kind of crunchy and cold with little strings in it. I never thought of it as having its own special flavor, but it does. And you can taste there's just naturally a little bit of salt possibly in sodium or in celery. But there's a lot of flavor. And so it woke up my taste buds that I could really taste everything better. Apples taste sweeter and better. Peaches were like amazing. Just all kinds of things. It was my taste buds were totally woken up. But then if I'd go to a restaurant to have dinner, everything tasted too salty to me because I got used to having it off. And that happens to people who travel to the United States from the UK. Some of them were like, oh, boy, those Americans, their food's like too salty because they could really taste the difference because they've been coming off of having too much salt when they're there.
Yeah, so I don't know the solution, Gina, because everybody, all the companies would have to probably do it at the same time. Everyone has to take their salt down, and then you wouldn't have an unfair competition where, hey, how come Kraft gets to do the extra salts and now they're selling more of their stuff than we're selling or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I'm telling you, it's a little tough, but I do want to hear what you have to say. And I see we've got some friends in the house, so I'm going to be sharing their comments here in just a couple of minutes. But I wanted to share that's some of our thoughts and takeaways from the chapter. And it's just amazing how many things salt does to make things taste better. Like even it's in sweets because a little bit of salt makes the sweet more sweet, and that there's salt in ice cream. I never thought about salt being in an ice cream and in cookies and in other things, but it makes the sugar taste a little better. So I hadn't really thought about that.
It is a magic ingredient, but it's not very good for you.
But here's the key. You still need some.
Yeah,
you can't go 100% no salt because your heart needs a little bit of sodium. Your heart needs a little bit of magnesium. Your heart needs a little bit of potassium. And your heart needs water too and needs to not be dehydrated. And if you're missing those key ingredients, your heart can't beat anymore. So it needs a little bit of all this stuff.
We are not prescribing anything today.
No. So talk to your doctors about it. So it's just like with a lot of things in life, it's balance. You need a little bit, but not too much of a little bit of everything.
That's why I like the MyFitnessPal app, because if I enter my food into there, I can see, it counts up all the sodium, counts up all the different vitamins and such, and tells me how I'm doing throughout the day. So I know, I only have so much of calories left or whatever. I can see that as I go.
Yeah. And we don't sponsor MyFitnessPal. They don't sponsor us or anything, but they do have a free version of their app. And Jeff always uses the free version. So if you want to check it out, you can check out MyFitnessPal.
Yeah.
Anything else before I go to the comments,
No,
Jeff?
let's do the comments.
Yeah, let's do the comments. Let's see what you guys all think. let's see here. Hey, we got Robin in the house. Hi, Robin. And Robin says, happy birthday weekend, Jeff, who's still looking good.
Thank
Love
you.
Pillow Talk song. So cute. Oh, thanks. Yeah,
Funny.
Jeff just cracks me up. He really, really does. We thought about having starting a playlist because he says the funniest things when we have totally in quiet, no TV, not reading a book, not looking at our phones, but just having special time to relax and reflect together. And he just cracks me up. The
So if
things
you want to
he
hear
comes
somebody
up
laugh,
with. Yeah.
that's why I married you, Gina, because
Aw.
number one, you laugh at my jokes,
Aw.
even though I have a first grade sense of humor.
Yeah,
I
he
used to
said
teach
dad
first
jokes.
grade. I said,
Yeah.
yeah, you have a good sense of humor for that.
Yeah, he does. Actually, he does. Our kids thought he was pretty funny too. So every now and again, when he really gets me going, I will do just really short, couple of minute takes, and we'll share that on our funny pillow talk talks, and put a new little thing on there. But anyway, love you guys bunches. Thanks, Robin. And Anna's in the house. Hey, Anna, good to see you. And Grant says, good afternoon, all, and happy birthday, Jeff.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Grant.
And Anna's wishing you a happy birthday, too.
Thanks.
And Robin says, I remember buying that bread. It was like buying holy bread with no taste. I tried to like it. Oh, so you tried a bread that had no salt in it. And do you remember the kind, they also came out with Ezekiel bread, and you had to buy it in the freezer section. And it was
really
sprouted bread. So it was like sprouted grains without grinding it up. And we did that for a while in the house.
That bread.
Well, if you'd like to get it again.
No. I like what we get now is Dave's Killer Good Seed bread.
Yeah, I really like that one too. That's my favorite flavored one.
It's maybe not as good as the Ezekiel bread, but it lasts longer.
Yeah.
For one thing.
It does. It does. And what I think this book has really helped me to do is to look at trying to cook more with my own fresh ingredients. But I need easy recipes because I'm not someone who truly enjoys cooking. But I don't mind cooking if it's something that doesn't have a lot of ingredients. Then I don't mind. So I think I might start doing that again, adding some more little cooking videos of just things people can buy themselves. You can buy buy or grow the herbs that I'll be putting into whatever it is that I'm making. But I'm going to try to find some recipes that are really easy, easy and somewhat healthy, because it's all going to be healthier if it doesn't have the preservatives and additives and a bunch of junk. And we can make it less sodium that way too.
I think that's the one really good thing about this book, in my opinion, is that it really opens up your eyes to how much of these things are inside of highly processed food. And even just getting less highly processed food would be a way to be more healthy, I think.
Here's something else I discovered not too terribly long ago. I had mentioned last week that with my kids growing up in our house, number one, we didn't have a lot of money because Jeff and I started off as two school teachers. This is the same house we had. We bought this house will be 35 years this coming March, so 34 years ago, and we raised our kids here. But it was tight on just a school teacher salary. And we did not have junk food at all in the house because number one, I said, their mom would be like 500 pounds. I was so afraid, especially doing the stay-at-home mom thing, that I would have just really gotten so heavy it'd be hard for me to take care of the kids. So I couldn't have that kind of stuff in the house. And I wanted my kids to be able to eat healthy. And so I would say, if they were hungry, I'd say, well, you could have some toast. Yay, toast. And I had mentioned that last week, but there was something else that I used to keep in the house. Of course, fruits and vegetables. So like if they were hungry, they could have an apple, or, we always had apples. We always had bananas, and we always had toast. We always had peanut butter. They could have peanut butter toast with some sliced bananas on it, or toast with jelly, whatever. But there was always bread for toast. But another thing I used to make for the kids is I used to buy microwave popcorn. And if you look on the back box of microwave popcorn, there is a ton of ingredients in there. And making popcorn from scratch is easy and tastier. So what I've been doing a lot lately is I have a little pan with a lid that has
It's like
a couple of
coffee
holes
pot,
on it,
kind of.
and I put I just buy the plain popcorn kernels, and I put a little bit of coconut oil at the bottom of the pan. I put the coconut kernels on there. I sprinkle a little salt on it, and then I pop it on the stove, and it takes not that long, 5-10 minutes, and I got popcorn, and it only has 3 ingredients, and I'm in charge of how much salt I'm putting on it. Where I can put less salt, and there's no preservatives, no additives, no extra flavors. It's just a little bit of coconut oil and a little bit of popcorn. So I've got the Orville, but you could do, it doesn't have to be this kind. It could be any brand of just plain kernels. And then I have a pot with a lid with holes.
The holes.
Yeah. Actually, that used to be an Epicure pot. You can't buy those anymore either, because Epicure went buzzard. But anyone would have it. Or you could do it on a regular frying pan.
I kind of like this
with
one
a lid.
You have a clear lid, so you can see the popcorn popping in here.
Yeah, and it's got little holes that the steam can
comes
release.
Out, yeah.
But there are glass lids on other pans that we have that have a little hole on the top, just a teeny one that can let some steam escape, and you can pop popcorn that way. And all you need kernels, you can be in control of it and not have a bunch of crap. And easy, just takes a few minutes. So anyway, I'll be doing. I think I'm going to put together a few videos of things that taste good that people can make themselves that are. And buying your own ingredients at the grocery store or in your garden or whatever. So nothing to sell you, just to help you to be able to come up with some things. And it'll help me and Jeff too, because we can go back and go, oh yeah, we haven't had popcorn for a while. Let's go do that. Or, oh, that's right. I used to like sometimes making I bought a bunch of celery sticks at Costco this week, and I remember for the kids too, I used to do like ants on the log, and you fill it with peanut butter and put some little raisins on top, and that's really tasty. But coming up and cream cheese, a little bit of cream cheese in celery sticks. There's some just different fun things to do. I actually just bought a bunch of fancy vinegars and olive oil that's been infused with herbs and spices from an olive company out of Flagstaff, and they were having a Labor Day special, and so I bought a bunch of that. That should be coming. To our house tomorrow, and we can make our own salad dressing. And it's just 2 ingredients. I like this coconut vinegar, and there's a spicy olive oil, and I just mix the 2 together, and that's it. You don't even have to add any spices. It's already full of flavor, and that's salad dressing. And then it's not going to have a whole bunch of preservatives and weird stuff in it. Just natural and fast, because that's the thing. Not everybody has a bunch of time.
If you're studying Latin, you should really get like a jar of salad dressing and try to read the side of it.
Yeah, it's amazing how much junk is in it.
I'm just teasing there, but not too much though, because there are a lot of ingredients on there that are hard to pronounce, and where did they come up with this?
Yeah.
These chemicals in here.
Exactly. And hey, we got Traveling Tea in the house. Hi, Traveling Tea. And Grant says, I continue to like Mrs. Dash as a good salt substitute. Yeah. And it's got all kinds of different flavors and stuff in it. And they really say that if you use Mrs. Dash and things like it, where you're infusing more herbs and spices without salt, you don't need as much salt. So that's great, Grant.
I'll have to get some.
We actually have some.
Oh, good.
Yeah. And Robin says, Gina, your hair is gorgeous and that yellow on you looks like your color. Aw, thanks, Robin. I appreciate that.
Did I buy this for you?
Yeah.
Okay.
You did. And Traveling T says the usual gang is here. Yep, all of our favorite peeps. And Robin says, there's a show on Netflix called Blue Zones you guys might like. How to Live to 100. Whenever you are in the, wherever you are in the world, Dan Butner's Secrets of the Blue Zones docuseries reveals 12 habits that add years. Oh, that'll be really good.
I saw that. I didn't watch it, but I noticed it, and I think it was, yeah, I think it was Netflix.
Yeah, and it was Robin who let me know about the Biggest Loser docuseries, where it shared the behind the scenes of what happened to people from The Biggest Loser, and really exposed a lot of practices that were not good on that show. As well as, there was a couple of sisters that did really well, and we're happy they were on it. So it showed a little bit of everything, called Fit for TV. And last Monday, I asked everybody to watch it, and we gave some of our big takeaways, and then we had a discussion in the group about it too. So if you didn't get a chance to watch Fit for TV, if you have Netflix, definitely check that out. Or if you used to watch The Biggest Loser, it was on
17 years.
Yeah, for 17 years. I can't remember what was it, NBC or ABC?
I do not know.
I think it was NBC. I'm not sure, but it was on like regular free TV that anybody in the United States could watch, and people in other countries were watching it too. So anyway, so you might really enjoy checking out last Monday's video. And thank you, Robin, for that recommendation. And I will check out the Blue Zones. That'll be something we can do this week, Jeff.
Could make some popcorn.
Yeah, we'll make some popcorn while we watch it. Yeah, that would be great. And Robin says, you could pop popcorn, yep, in a brown paper bag too. Don't need any oil. I have an air popcorn popper from Target that goes into the microwave. I use no oil. Yeah, and actually, I was also able to do it. I have a silicone thing that I used to put in the microwave that was an Epicure silicone container, but I'm sure there's some by other companies that you can probably buy on Amazon, and you just put the popcorn kernels in there, and you don't need to add oil, and it pops it. But I will tell you, a little bit of oil does up the flavor. I still like it best when I add a little bit of coconut oil and do it on the stove, just that, and the smell of the coconut oil with it. But I try to have not too much and just a little bit. Hey, and we got A Barnett on, and she says, I've realized I can create my own seasoned salt and have a lot less salt without all the stuff I can't pronounce. That's great. That's the way to do it for sure. And Robin says, they don't make that bread I bought anymore. I see thin sliced bread now, or gluten-free bread. Oh, okay. So the one that you were thinking of, you can't buy anymore.
Probably people didn't want to buy it.
Yeah. It's a hard sell.
Yeah.
It really is a hard sell. And so it kind of comes down to right now, what are we going to do? And being more self-aware and more aware when you're shopping in the grocery store, what am I going to eat? And finding some of that stuff. Another thing that I've been making and I really love is I've been getting plain Greek yogurt, plain. Now I get some with a little bit of fat in it. I don't do the fat free, but I get some with a little bit of fat in it. And I'll add for a half cup of plain Greek yogurt, I'll add a half a tablespoon of honey. And honey has 60 calories in a full tablespoon. So I'm adding 30 calories of honey to it and stir it up, and a little bit of cinnamon. Oh my gosh, it's so delicious. And it's really good to dip apples in. And so I'll dip apple slices in it, and 0 preservatives, 0 additives. It just very, very delicious.
What kind of yogurt do you get?
I get plain Greek yogurt, and Greek yogurt's higher in protein. And you can do it with the fat-free too, but I had read from some dietitian somewhere that she was like, your body does need some fat, and to have a little bit of fat in your dairy isn't that bad. And sometimes it can keep you satisfied longer. So that's what I've been doing. And so instead of the fat-free, I've been getting some with some fat in it, but natural, just a natural Greek yogurt, plain, and then adding a little. And it's good for me to add natural honey, because if you buy honey that's local honey, it helps you with allergies, seasonal allergies. And so I'm supposed to take a little bit of honey, and it is delicious in plain Greek yogurt. All right, I'm looking, and I do not see any more messages. If you're catching this now on replay, please put it in. And Jeff, can you open up your cell phone or get me my cell phone? I want to see who is on the leaderboard, our top 3. I forgot to mention that last on Monday, so I want to thank Grant. You were number 1 last week. But let's see. But I have to have a cell phone to do it. When I go live on using StreamYard, it doesn't show me the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd place on the leaderboard based on comments. Oh, and we got another comment right now. And Barnett says, another good read is The Obesity Code, Unlocking the Secrets of Weight Loss by Jason Fung. Is that the one about doing the carnivore diet? Is that the carnivore diet one? Just curious. And our next book is we're going to do David Knapp's book. And I've been looking all over to see what in the world I did with it. But his is going to be the next one. And I will I've got to order it because I've been looking for it and haven't been able to figure out where I put it. But it's an easy read. It won't take too long, and it's about GLP-1s.
I have no idea how you do it.
Okay, so when you go like this to live chat, right here where it looks like a little next to the words live chat, it has a crown and it says 0 XP, and when you click on it, it gives the leaderboard. Okay.
Do you want a drum roll?
Sure. And that's what Jeff got for his birthday. He got a special stand for his bongos that our son gave him for Father's Day. So in 3rd place, we have T. In 2nd place, we have Robin Lockwood, and our number 1 leader was Grant today. Yay! And thank you guys all for coming today. And Robin says, I eat plain yogurt all the time, and I add honey, or you can add your own jelly preserves, which would also be delicious. And A. Barnett says, no, it tells how sugar causes obesity. Interesting. The book called The Obesity Code. All right. I'll have to take a look for that one. Thank you for the recommendation. So everyone who has recommendations, put them down, because I'll be looking for more and more books to share with you guys. All right, everybody, hold on to your anchor moments and make it a great day. We'll see you tomorrow on a Manjaro Monday Live. Bye-bye.